Kelly. I'm here with Robbie Coker. Now, Robbie just got the job at McNeese State as an assistant coach in the Big Southland Conference, but he's been one of the most successful coaches, not just in DeKalb County, but in Alabama. He's won 4 state championships when he was at Plainview, and he set an unprecedented future for some of the coaches that are here. These anybody that follows up is going to be like replacing Coach Saban.
It's not the way to start off a
Right.
Wednesday morning, but I appreciate the compliments. Obviously, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of success. Obviously, we're going to be good at basketball. We're going to have good players, and we've had a lot of good players over the last 12 years in DeKalb County. I think that's right. 10 at Plainview, 2 at Fort Payne. And been very blessed, man. Everywhere we've been, we've had kids that bought into the vision of playing the game the right way and getting to work in the gym and putting the team first. And it's been a fun journey to be a part of. We've developed lasting relationships. It's been a fun journey.
Now, when I took this job, at the Times Journal. Coach Van Meter over at Oxford, he said, you gotta talk to Robbie. He's just like you. You guys are gonna get along real great. I think you were the first person that I texted. I got the job here, and you made me laugh with some of your emails. But just coming to DeKalb County, you don't really know who this guy is. He's like a politician. All you need to do is start kissing babies everywhere you went. The only other guy I could relate it to was like Dick Vitale. When I would talk to Dick, his attention would never be on you, but he'd be listening to you, and there's so many other people that wanted his attention. That's what kind of happens when you walk into the room.
I'm a native DeKalb County. My dad was a sports guy. Kerry Baker and him started sports coverage in high school sports coverage in Old Sand Mountain, DeKalb County, and Jackson County, I believe, in 1967. Maybe 1969, somewhere in the late 60s, nevertheless. And I just grew up around the ball field. We were always going to games. Didn't matter the sport. We're very fortunate to be raised around coaches and gyms and fields across this area. And he loved people. He loved telling other people's stories. And he made for a great childhood. And I guess that kind of is the reason I am who I am. I do enjoy people. I do love talking to people. I love making new friends.
Yeah, but you got a great personality for it. And you've been in coaching for how many years now?
Coach Hogan gave me the 7th grade boys in October of 2000.
Wow.
So I did 2 years as 7th grade boys at Crossville. I did 3 years as a manager at Jack State where I met Van Meter.
Okay.
Then I went to Ole Miss with Coach Kennedy. I was there 5 years. I did a year at Coach Chalkwell, did a year as a Crossville football coach. And then we said 12 years, right? So this is my 25th year with a team, man. So the game's been really good to me. High school athletics have been really good to me. So thankful. It brings the best and worst out of me. Competition can be good, it can be bad, but overall, it's kind of who I am. It's rooted back to my dad and my mom. The game's been really good to my family.
I think if you want pure entertainment, watching him coach is something you will never forget. Just the passion that you have, though.
I wish I was better at that. A lot of that comes from my high school coach, Coach Hogan, was very animated. And then, of course, I worked for AK at Ole Miss for 5 years. He said, he should be a late night. He should have his own show. So, it's just, unfortunately, brings the best horse in it.
I remember one of the coaches that I worked for because I wanted to be a college basketball coach when I was younger. So late 90s, I would go around to the colleges and work there, summer camps. So I worked for Coach K, Coach Kremens. I worked for Coach Odom, Coach Fogler, and Coach Kress at College Charleston is my favorite. But Coach Yasewski could do more with a curse than any person I've ever met. It's Jim O'Connell, the AP writer, said he's the most creative cursor I've ever met in my life. So coaches, and like from his personality, you wouldn't think Coach K is like that kind of when you see him in the media. But when you get the competition going, it's like, and you guys stick up for your players, and you got to kind of set a tone with the referees and everything. There's a whole kind of game you got to play as a coach. When did you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you got to be your personality. Everyone has to be themselves. And I went and watched UAH a bunch this year. Mick Hedgepath, a UAH Crossville guy, had a phenomenal season. It was got beat by the national champion twice. I think he went 32-2 and got beat by the national champion in overtime and got beat by like 5 in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. So phenomenal year. But when I watch Mick coach, like I wish so much I could be Mick. You know, like he's so calm and smooth and relaxed. And like this, you know, I watch him coach and I tell him to make me jealous. You know, and it's so easy for him. You know, he's always under control. But you gotta be yourself, and everybody has to coach their personality. And I don't think you can cheat or hide who you are. You know, I think people that know me know that I am passionate. And I had a high school coach in the Birmingham area yesterday. I said, "Coach, I appreciate the advice you gave me 3 or 4 years ago." And I was like, "Coach, I don't remember, but I know this. You knew that's what I believed at the time." He's 100%. I knew you'd tell me what you thought. You know. So, you know, you just try to do that and try to be yourself and try to improve as a coach and a person every year. And you get to see the last 2 years, and I'm not near as crazy as I was 15 years ago. So you just continue to evolve as a coach. You know, just like you want your players to get better every day, every year as a coach, and as a man, you want people to get better every day.
I remember when Larry Bird was coaching Pacers, they were playing the Bulls in the East Conference Finals, and Reggie Miller hit a game-winning shot, and Bird was just yeah, because he's done it like a million times himself, and that's the greatest reaction from a coach I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, Phil Jackson wasn't exactly like full of emotions either on the court. You know, like O'Reilly.
I know when my favorite was when Villanova made the 3 to beat Carolina. Jay Wright just says like boom, maybe just walked in. You know, everybody's going nuts. Jay Wright was always the smoothest guy. You know, just got one there. So.
Jay Wright, I knew when he was at Hofstra on Long Island. There was a Jet Giant game one time that was football game that was at Hofstra that he hosted, and they got into a fight that was outstanding. Football players, like it was like a brawl. I swear, supposed to be for charity, and yeah, he didn't know what to do with that. That was my memory of him. But being like, was that on your radar to go to this next level?
No, you know, Bill and I've been friends for. I think we came to that. I think it was 2003.
Bill Armstrong was that coach at McNeese State.
You know, we've been friends forever. He was a young assistant at Birmingham Southern. I was a manager at Jack State. My guy who I roomed with on the road was a guy named Torrey Ward. Torrey was Bill's college roommate. They were best friends since they were like 16 years old in high school. So anytime we had some off time, we go to Birmingham. You know, we watched the NCAA tournament games together. We talked ball, you know, and just developed a relationship with Bill. And when AK was hired, and you're gonna get me years here, I think it was 06. When AK was hired in 06, he hired Bill. Let's go back. He kept Michael White on staff, who went with Jack State, who had hired Torrey, who just moved on. He kept him at Ole Miss. He hired Owen Miller from Colorado State, native Mississippian. And he hired Torrey Ward as the 3rd assistant. He was at Jack State with us. Hired Bill as the director of operations, who was at Birmingham Southern. And then at the time, he paid $19,000, so he had nobody that would take the job. So he hired a young college. You know, I graduated in December that year, and he hired me as the video guy. So it just fell into place, and Bill and I shared an office. We all lived together except Whitey the first 2 months because everybody's family moved, and we all got to Mississippi School together for about 6-8 weeks. And then the old Sad Pat, as they came nicknamed at the time, had offices around the outside. Yeah, and we shared an office together. Like our office was like half the size of this office. He was on one edge, I was on the other. So, you know.
It's like when Saban was with Belichick at Cleveland, where they basically all lived together.
Yeah.
Nobody paid for cable, whatever. They couldn't have the expenses yet.
So, you know, you share an office with a man for, you know, you share a house for 6 or 8 weeks, and you share an office for 6 months, and you work together for 5 years. So we always kidded it, T. Ward would be the head coach. You know, we always thought T. Ward would be the head coach. Bill and I would be the assistants. Of course, T. Ward passed away coming home from the Final Four. 8 or 9 years ago, this coming up Monday. So, was interviewed for Southeast Missouri the next day. So, it's cool to be, you know, our paths haven't crossed, we've stayed in contact, but, you know, this was always a dream that, you know, one day we could work together. And for him to have his opportunity at McNeese State, and for him to ask us to be a part, like my wife, everybody knows she lives 6 miles from her mom right now.
Oh boy.
I tell people, if you don't know Bill Armstrong's a good recruiter, Melissa Coker's like, yeah, we gotta go. We got, this is an opportunity we can't turn down. So just whirlwind, drinking from the fire hose, trying to get things done, trying to get players, same 13 guys on the roster, and trying to reschedule. So busy time of the year for a coach, regardless. But now you got 5 guys changing locations. I'm probably wasting 10 minutes now.
No, I think it's all interesting because I didn't really have a plan of questions I want to ask you, just kind of listen to your answers. But the NIL, and the how you recruit now, I know it's definitely changed than it was even 5 years ago.
Sure.
Since they have the transfer portal and everything. Are you going to be doing recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, everybody recruits.
Right.
AK used to always say, recruiting's like shaving. If you don't go there today, you look like a bum. If you're not recruiting, you're not winning.
Great quote.
Yeah, everybody be recruiting, but Bill obviously, that's his wheelhouse. He's got phenomenal relationships really all over the country. He'll hit that up. He'll recruit as hard as any head coach in the country, I assume. And as he's still putting his staff together, there'll be a lot of guys that are stronger at recruiting than me. Not that Kev Kelly, people's laughing about that.
Yeah, I know. Right? They're not. It's not very funny to them, no.
But the deal. So, but everybody recruits every day. You're recruiting every day. So,
Sure. Recruitment's
we're just, Final Four. I think the recruitment is big. So asking about.
Yeah. By the way, we now get to hear about Fort Payne today.
Northeast, big fan.
Yeah.
Sure, 2 years. Great place. Harvard on the Hill. Great place.
I mean, it's in a nice.
Such a good transition for a guy like me. If I've been at Chicago, I'm not gonna make it.
Oh yeah, no.
To live at home and people.
That was my mistake.
Small.
I did go to college. No, but not ready for it. Should have been in community college for 2 years and gotten that out of my system before I went. Living a lot by myself, all of a sudden you have all this freedom. Yeah, not good for an 18-year-old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Unless it's McNeese State, it's great for
Of
everybody.
course.
But yeah, so,
I was going to say that.
I don't know, but yeah,
But talk about McNeese State and talk about so now we're in the NCAA tournament, Southland Conference. You have automatic bids and then you have bids that go to the teams that win their conference tournament. Usually Southland Conference only gets that one.
it's a one-bid league, it is, predominantly. Had some great teams come through the Southland, Stephen F. Austin had some runs in the last 10 years, it was really good. Obviously, McNeese went back-to-back years, won a game, beat Clemson.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
This year beat Clemson, so,
and that's
I
a
don't
big
know
news.
much about the league, obviously. I accepted the job over the weekend, but Texas, lots of good athletes, lots of good players.
Mm-hmm.
The Jayhawk and the Texas Junior College leagues are obviously good. The Southland Conference has put teams in the NCAA tournament and chasing the win, for years. Great facility. I don't know our arena, Legacy Arena, hosts the Southland Conference tournament now.
Okay.
So obviously that's a huge advantage.
Sure.
Matthew Litt, director, he's Shortland's a basketball coach, and he's done a phenomenal job of kind of galvanizing. The president is a local guy. They've just kind of done a great job of getting everyone on the same page. And obviously, I spent 36 hours there last week, but
Wow.
haven't really met everybody. But I just know that you can tell that Ray is important, and that Charles, the city is important, and that they support that school, and that school really is for the community.
I mean, it's just like it is anywhere else. It becomes a bigger part of what you're doing. By the way, the most famous guy, at least graduate basketball player to come out of McNeese State was Joe Dumars. And Dumars was a heck of a GM for the Pistons, how he built that team.
Heck of a player, I mean.
Yeah, I can play too.
He's done
Absolutely.
basketball, every level, every
Yeah.
role, that's right.
He was the MVP, I believe, in the 1990 NBA Finals when they swept the Lakers. So he had a great career. And then as a GM, nobody really knows, who didn't follow his career as a GM. They won a couple of championships from the rosters he built. So it's a great example, I think, on how to build, whether it's a college program or an NBA program.
Sure.
Other coaches I think of when I think of you, just a gym rat, a guy that knows the game really well. I mean, I know basketball pretty good, but Robbie taught me a lot of things watching him coach. I sat in on practice one time this year, It was just so fun for me because I used to love practice. And how you attack a game, make adjustments, all these things were very key. But as an assistant coach, what kind of stuff do you really look up for? When do you know when to say to a coach, hey, this is something we need to do better, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've obviously there's one guy command. He's in charge.
Mhm.
You know, Andy King was great to work for because he didn't care whose idea it was.
Right.
Especially the team. You know, he's going to do it. But you better have some facts, and you better be confident in what you're saying. Or, you know, he can embarrass you pretty quickly. You know, our staff dynamics and how Will runs the program. You know, obviously we'll learn a lot more on Monday. But you know, everyone has to check their ego at the door. Everybody has to put the team first. You know, it's a simple game. You know, the guys that value winning and the guys who do what it takes and work extremely hard. Look here, gets the credit. You know, will be successful. We'll follow Bill's lead. You know, he's the captain of the ship. If he thinks me doing the laundry is what's best for the team, I'll be doing the laundry.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So we pay
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly. Whatever the responsibilities, you know, we hadn't really talked about responsibilities. He's in the process of finishing up the staff, so he'll put everybody in their strengths. Hopefully, we'll have a staff that covers a lot of broad areas, you know, and has different strengths. And
Basically, to run this.
yeah, you want an organization where you know everything's covered. You know, everybody don't have to be good at offense. Everybody don't have to be good at defense. But you know, you want to be able to mesh a staff together that creates an advantage for winning and covers the various aspects of the program. Whatever Bill says goes. You know, we're excited to follow his lead.
It's a pure team concept in anything you do.
That's right.
A couple coaches I think of, I think of you. I knew Kenny Atkinson when he was on Long Island. I used to coach AAU, and Kenny would come by and he would do, programs with the kids, and he was involved, played overseas for a little while. Always great dribbler, great at skills, and that's pretty much what he would teach the kids. Now he's head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, the best record in the Eastern Conference. A guy like Jeff Van Gundy, another gym rat. Nothing to do with the fact that they're white and small, maybe short. Yeah, no, but it's more their work ethic, where I really can see you with how you work and how you prepare, going to at whatever level you want to, and I think that's probably one of the best things you could say about a coach. And just for me, covering you just this 1 year, you taught me a lot. You've been a really good friend, and I'm really gonna miss you.
I appreciate it. I think people that are passionate about what they do, you know, kind of end up in the same circles. And I appreciate you being here. I appreciate what you do for our kids and for this area. I appreciate how confident, you know. I'm just a guy that wasn't very good at basketball, but loved it, and was very fortunate. You know, you look at how your past. Sometimes you look back at your path, you didn't know at the time, but I'm just so lucky my dad, my mom, how they kind of guided my path, and the people around, and how I ended up at the Northeast Community College. Made so many good friends up there that, you know, we've been rivals, and you realize you're all the same, you know. Met some great friends in the Northeast, and was able to go to Jack State and just run a situation where they did a lot of work done, and the more you could do, the more they'd give you. And Coach Plant was so good for me, and Coach Michael White, Joe Van Meer, you know, just on and on. Van Meer outlived it, you know, good for a year. You look back and you're like, you know, how lucky was I? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, because I made the decision to go to Jack State. I had no idea, you know, made the decision because it was the closest and cheapest option to be a PE teacher. You know, you just, you know, sometimes you look back and you just realize how blessed. And the people, when I look back at my life, my dad always told me, you know, we grew up very modestly, you know, in Scarborough, Alabama. You know, he always told me, if you got good friends, you're rich. And he was so thankful for the friends he had, and it kind of rubbed off on me. And I've been so lucky to kind of take that gift from him, to make good friends and relationships and sharing stories and take the time to enjoy people's journey. I'm so thankful for the people that I've been around, the guys. You know, I mean, the coaches, the high school coaches, the guys you play against, the guys that now they have kids, and, you know, you coach against their kid, you know. Had a couple of rival parents over the last 3 or 4 years, text me yesterday how proud they were for me. I coached against their kid. We had bitter games,
I
and
feel
then,
like you're partying.
yeah, and then they text, hey, coach, congratulations. The game's been so good, the people have been so good to me, and we're going to chase this thing and do everything we can to be the best assistant coach we can be, and I'm so thankful. A guy today, former players, I'll leave with this, it's great. A guy, former player's dad, I was talking to today, and he said, Coach, I read the Bible today in my devotion. It said, if you're full of gratitude, you can't have any resentfulness.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty strong.
That is strong.
That's
Isn't
pretty
it?
good at 7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
That's how I want to be, man. I'm so grateful, man. Even the hard falls and the tough losses, the people that this game has exposed me to is one of the blessings of my life, and maybe who I am. I'm thankful.
I found a question. Coach, you would rank as your favorite coach, guy you either tried to exemplify in your own coaching style, or you learned a lot from just strategy and your favorite player.
Favorite player is Michael Jordan.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on.
Real
You say, come on, no harder than that. Greatest basketball player ever.
What's terrible is this. I actually went and watched him play a baseball game. I never watched him
Oh,
play
Birmingham,
basketball.
that's right.
I mean, can't believe my
Really?
dad. We've never watched him play live. It's crazy.
You never saw, wow, oh, I guess, how would you?
Atlanta, no.
Yeah.
Easy, man. I had buddies, got this, probably had a baseball game, this never felt right. It's crazy that my dad, we never saw Michael Jordan play live. Crazy. Obviously my favorite player. And then coach, man, I gotta leave, man. There's so many. Cool, man. That's a hard question. When I grew up, Coach Jerry Rice at Crossville took 10 teams from Butler to the Final Four.
Mm.
Was a neighbor, a friend of my dad's. And then Coach Donnie Jones and Coach Hogan let me be managers. I played for Coach Hogan.
Jeez.
Yeah, Kel White was a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Van Meter and Whitey and LaPlante, AK and all that, T. Ward, Bill, Sergio Rocco, Alpine. I've been able, I can't, I mean, that's a terrible little question.
Hey, reporters never get
That's
easy
right,
jobs.
but, was able to work camp for Coach K and Coach White got me on there was work camp. And, man, that's Coach Izzo, my first road trip at Jack State was at Michigan State.
Wow, okay.
Coach White and I are sitting on the edge of the floor, and Coach Izzo walks up and introduces himself. Let me know who,
Ah, yeah, right.
And so he always
Yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah, so I pulled for him, after that, the way his teams play. I think a lot of those guys I respect, and don't tell me who I've still got to bounce away from, or a quote from, I think in coaching, maybe the greatest thing about coaching is how much we steal other people's sayings right there. You get something, you write it down. I was sitting in my office yesterday, and I just got handwritten notes from watching a video or watching NCAA tournament. Somebody say something, write it down. I don't think as a coach you know who always influenced you. You know what I mean? Like there's so many. My high school football coach influenced me. I've been blessed beyond measure with coaches. To pinpoint who's your favorite would be hard. I'll probably say Barry Bryant, Nick Saban. I grew up in Alabama.
Yeah.
Grew up on the parables of Barry Bryant. So, but yeah, thanks man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you. Always good to see you. Pass across again.
As Bobby Coker, look out for him. This guy is going to be not only a head college coach one day, but probably if he wants to be an NBA.
So we'll miss me as a mini state.
Bobby Coker, everybody.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.